Hello, this is Chuck Ventura, CEO and founder of Ventura Solutions. If you're developing medical devices or combination products, understanding design controls and risk management early on can save you from major headaches down the road. But where do you start? Today, I'm going to give an overview of the design control and risk management process. But before I get started, if this is something you're interested in learning more about in the future, be sure to hit the subscribe button below because we're going to be publishing a lot of content like this in the near future. So you're starting a new medical device development project, or maybe you're in combination products and you've never really heard of the word design control or risk management, right? Design controls and risk management are absolutely critical to the medical device development process. So first off, as you may know, this is a requirement from the FDA under CFR 820.30. Design controls are a necessary regulatory requirement that we have to comply with. Very similar to the design control process is ISO 13485, which has a structured design and development process that we have to follow for products in Europe that we want to get CE marked or following this ISO certification process. Design controls and risk management are really a structured development process, right? To help ensure we develop products that are safe and effective, especially like on the combination product side. You've been in the pharma industry your whole career. This may be a foreign topic. On the medical device side, pure medical device engineers, maybe you're new to medical device or you've been in the medical device for some time and you're still just trying to learn a little bit more. Could be a confusing process at first, but at the end, it's really just a structured development process to help make sure products are safe and effective. Now, me personally, I've been developing medical devices and combination products for close to 20 years now in industry. And early on in my career as a medical device engineer, I became very interested in the design control and risk management process. And that was for multiple reasons. You may realize the product development process in general is a very chaotic process. And I tell this story a lot because that's just the reality of it. It's a messy process, right? So if you think about it, you have various types of regulatory requirements that you have to deal with. You have customer requirements. You have all sorts of internal stakeholders, right? Manufacturing, quality, regulatory, marketing. And then add to the mix to that, we are dealing with human beings. At the end of the day, it's a group of human beings coming together to develop a product. And human beings have their own thoughts and desires and emotions and perspectives change. And also with humans, right, we're working on projects, team members change, right? You don't always have the same marketing person or same manufacturing person as you do from the beginning of the project. So if you're starting a product development process, more in the middle of the product development process, what I personally love about design controls and risk management is it brings organization to this chaotic process. Just sharing some thoughts with you early on the fact that why I got interested in design controls and risk management early on in my career, right, was primarily because I liked that it gave a structured, organized process to design and development project. Now, that being said, it's required by the FDA, right? It's also required by other regulatory bodies for certain types of medical devices in the US, especially class 2 and class 3 medical devices have to comply with this regulation. And a lot of combination products that have the device constituent also have to comply with this. But in general, I value the process. And the other thing I'll say before we get started, at a high level is that this is much more than documentation. This is another thing a lot of people will hear me say over and over and over again. It's not just documentation. This is not just filling out forms and check boxes. And I'll talk more about this as we get into some of these topics. But, the reality is it's an engineering and scientific process that requires a lot of thought and a lot of analysis. So it's very important to take it seriously and plan accordingly in the development process. So that being said, I'm going to get started now with going through the process at a high level and talking about each one of these steps in some detail. When you are from a design control standpoint, the usually you have to follow a design control process. And there's a classic waterfall diagram on the FDA website that you could find. It's on FDA guidance documents. Okay, so on the design control side, the high level process that we have to consider is design and development planning, collecting user needs, from there developing design inputs. And once we have design inputs, we refine our design outputs. And that's somewhat of an iterative process back and forth through design iterations and design inputs. And then once we finalize our design, we go through what's called design freeze. Once we have design freeze, we do design verification, and then we do design validation. Design validation also has some elements of human factors. A human factor summative validation would also be part of design validation. Once we go through V&V, then we go through design transfer. We finalize design transfer and scale up for commercial launch, right? So at a high level, that is the design control process. Now, while that's going on, we also have configuration management, change control going on to monitor and assess the impact of various design changes throughout the project. And last but not least, and very, very important, is risk management. Risk management is going on continuously throughout this process, and it's very, very critical. So we're going to talk about each one of these elements and how they're integrated. So the first step in the design control process is creating that design and development plan. The design and development plan, like a lot of these documents, is a living document, right? And it's going to include your project scope, your any constraints of the project, what the proposed indication, intended use for the project is. You're also going to look at if you're using contract manufacturers or design firms or even different functional groups within the company, who those individuals are, who those different organizations are, how you're going to manage those relationships, the interrelationship between these groups, roles and responsibilities. That needs to be cleared up in the design and development plan. Also, we need to clear up various timelines and milestone dates. It's good to specify in the design and development plan. Some other elements that are really critical are a high-level regulatory strategy. If the regulatory strategy is relatively simple, you could include all of that in your design and development plan. If you need to add more detail to your regulatory strategy, then you may have a high-level summary and reference a separate document, right, that has the detailed regulatory strategy. So some other elements there, you're going to have your configuration management plan, like when design controls is going to start. You may also discuss high level your verification and validation strategy. If your project is going to require clinical trial, you're going to talk high level about what that clinical trial looks like. These are some of the elements you're going to get into. Hey, I hope you enjoyed this high level overview of design controls and risk management, why they're important, and why I love these processes. If you're interested in learning more, make sure to hit the subscribe button below. Stay tuned because we'll be diving into other key stages like design inputs, design outputs, verification and validation, and of course, my favorite, risk management, all in the upcoming videos. And if you ever need any consulting, staffing, or training support related to these topics, please reach out to me or my team at Ventura Solutions, and we'll be happy to help. See you next time.